So if we could turn our attention inward, sort of invite the body and the mind to relax, to simply be. And let's honor presence, recognize presence as our reality, that we are one as presence. We are one in truth. We are one in love, like the waves are one with water, one with the ocean. And simply rest, welcoming your experience as it appears to you right now, without any interest in fixing anything, your feelings, your emotions, sensations that are appearing to you, to welcome it all just as it is. If images arise about oneself or about the other, to simply recognize it's just passing images, mind impressions, without much significance. Images on the screen. The images come and go, but the screen of presence, of awareness, is changeless. Which is what we truly are. Our true essence is this I awareness, transparency of being. And as this transparency, we recognize the other as oneself. We recognize the other as that same transparency, that same awareness, that same reality. I am this presence, this awareness, infinite, invisible, borderless. And the qualities of this awareness is love, caring, gentleness, fairness, consideration, appreciation, gratitude. So I invite myself to live as that, meaning to be watchful of the tendency to live as a separate personal self, being watchful inwardly and being watchful in relationship, in our expression, so that our expression represents our true understanding about our wholeness, our oneness, our indivisibility, our sameness. In honoring the other, I honor myself. And in honoring myself, I honor the other. Honoring oneself refers to being true to oneself. True to our deepest aspiration, which is the aspiration for peace and happiness, causeless peace and happiness. So we listen inwardly and outwardly with utmost care. What is the impact that I am having this moment onto the other, as well as onto my deep inner intuition, which is quite different from listening to the chatter of the mind about how he should be, how she should be, how life should be. Because the chatter of the mind is conditioned by the past, which is not what is going on. And within our past, there is the conditioning, which says, I am this person and I'm this body-mind, this mortal body-mind, and I need this and that in order to be happy. The historical mind is conditional happiness. Is happiness dependent on something? Take a look. So often in life, in relationship, in situations, we operate from our ideas and images and feelings and emotions rather than from love and understanding. Don't we? Don't we? But in this moment, there is no past. Just the reality of awareness, of consciousness. And that is not of the past or the future. That which is not subject to time and space, not subject to conditions, is the reality which right now perceives these words, truly perceives. The reality of consciousness, which is the reality of peace and happiness. The one reality. Reality is one. Whatever the reality of love is, whatever the reality of freedom and happiness is the reality of that which is real, which is consciousness, which is your reality. This is why it is said we seek afar that which is closer than close. We seek afar that which is closer than close. The habitual tendency of the mind to say, yes, it's out there. The seeking mind, which says, let's go after this experience, let's go after that situation. That's where I will find my happiness. not now, but when I will attain such and such an experience, then in some abstract future, I will be happy. Do you see that? The trickery of the conditioned mind, the way in which it maintains its mirage, maintains its erroneous narrative, keeping you under its hypnotic spell of past and future, me in past and future. So there are no accidents. Here we are, moment by moment, this moment. It's always a fresh moment of being, of presence. How am I in this moment? What do I consider myself to be? Do I consider myself to be a character in time and space? A storyline that keeps weaving itself. Is this what I truly am? A storyline appearing as images and sensations and feelings. Is it possible to dive deeply in this moment, so deeply that there is no room for anything else? Okay, so if you have any questions, anything that you would like to explore, please make sure to unmute your mic. Any questions?
Yes.
Hello, George.
Yes. Hi there, Magdi. In the meditation, you described the mind. It seemed to me almost as you were describing it as if it were an entity and had some type of intent. Does the mind have any real existence, or is this just Is the mind just an abstraction?
Well, so the way I define mind is as a subset of perceptions, sensations, and mentations, thoughts, perceptions, feelings, memories, images, bodily sensations. This is what I refer to as mind. Conventionally, in a more narrow way, the mind is usually referred to as a process of thinking. But the way I use the term mind is as the subset of thoughts, perceptions, and sensations. So from that perspective, the way I define the mind is perceive. In other words, you perceive a thought. I perceive a sensation, a bodily sensation, a toothache or an itch. And I perceive a perception. I perceive the ocean. I perceive the singing of the birds or the oak tree in the yard. So the mind is not an entity that has an existence of its own, a will of its own, a doership of its own. From that perspective, it is not. So when in the meditation, I, for example, say something like the mind arises and hypnotizes you into the belief that you are a mortal body mind, it's just a way of speaking. To be more precise, there is a thought that appears, which is mind. The thought appears saying, I am a man, for example. And something believes this thought. That which believes this thought is I. I believe the thought. Not Magdi believes the thought. I believe the thought. So believing the thought, which is an observable thought, is just a neutral event, but believing a thought that says, hey, you are Magdi, believing this thought is what I refer to as the hypnotic effect of the mind. In fact, the mind meaning thoughts, perceptions, sensations, have no power. There is only one power, which is God's power, or in other words, which is the power of consciousness, the power of I. Not the power of the body named Magdi, or the body named George, or George's mind, or the power of I, consciousness. So yes, when you hear in the meditation an allusion to the mind having a certain power, it's just a way of speaking. It is not to be taken literally.
Okay, great, thank you. But just one more thing though. So now the belief, who does the believing?
I do. I, consciousness do.
Consciousness believes, okay.
Well, I believe, right? I believe the earth is flat, right? What is the I that believes the earth is flat? It's not George.
Okay, that's what I'm just looking at.
Why it's not George? It's a good question. Why am I saying it's not George?
Yes, why are you saying that?
I'm saying it's not George because George, or let me speak about Magdi. It's not Magdi, because Magdi appears to me.
Okay, yes. No, I get it now. Yes, of course. George or Magdi don't really exist.
They appear as thoughts or memories or images or feelings or sensations. An image doesn't believe.
Exactly. I get it now. Yes.
So it is always I that believes. So in your question, what is it that believes? It's I consciousness that believes the earth is flat. I believe that I am mortal.
And the source of that belief just, what, and what is the source of that belief?
The source is the source of that belief, of the belief. The source is its source. The source of the belief is the source. I mean, your question is the answer. What is the source of the belief? The source is the source of the belief. Now, your question is, what is the source?
Okay.
Okay, what is the source? The source is that which creates, right?
Okay, yes.
Okay, so in your night dream, as a metaphor, in your night dream, you perceive a pink flying elephant, right?
Right.
What
Well,
is
mine usually purple, but that's fine.
with polka dots or yellow polka dots, purple. So ask yourself, what is the source, or out of what does this purple elephant arise? It arises out of consciousness, out of I, the dreamer. So the source is consciousness. In religious terms, God creates. God conceives, creates, and perceives. In Advaitic term, consciousness, universal consciousness, simultaneously conceives, creates, and perceives. So the source is the source. The source is the source, and that source is consciousness, which is the reality. It's helpful to contemplate the term reality, because we've got to be talking about reality. Otherwise, might as well get together, smoke some hookah, and have a good, game of poker together, right? That's not what we're doing. So we're talking about reality. So the source of any manifestation must be real, otherwise end of conversation. So since it's not end of the conversation, we say, okay, what is it that is real? What is reality? That can be helpful to you, George. If you ask yourself, what is the reality? That can answer a lot of your questions. You go to your experience directly right now. What is it that is real in your experience right now? Is it not consciousness, awareness?
Yes, that's right. Yes, of course. Okay, very good. Thank you, Magdi. Thank you.
Okay, George. Okay.
Magdi, can I say something?
Yes. Hello, Anna. Yes, of course.
I was immensely, immensely touched by Shiva's question. Where is my image? Why did you do it?
Did I do something?
You disabled me. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I don't need to be present.
No,
you don't.
I like to, sometimes I press on the wrong thing. Okay, yes, Anna.
It helped me immensely to be awake. And I want to express my gratitude for the question that Shiva had, I think was 2 sessions before, when he expressed with so much beauty and understanding all the sufferment that the idea of himself was experiencing. And I saw you talking before, but I experienced so much love from you to Shivan, and today, Wolfgang. So today, when you post this, that you were going to talk about suffering, I would like you to go further. Suffering, would it be resistance to the reality, attachment to the seemingly reality?
Yes. So suffering, either it is real or not. Let's start with it. If suffering is real, and if we understand what reality, what real means, then we're doomed. Okay. Just a little note to start the conversation about suffering. So if suffering is real, that's the end of the conversation. Okay, hey, listen, we're suffering. Okay, good. Goodbye. Nice, I hope. I hope you will enjoy your suffering because it's real. Now, But here we are in the conversation, and we talk about suffering because we have an intuition that there is something out there to explore.
Yes.
Now, suffering, when we use our reason, we can understand that suffering refers to a sufferer. Okay, somebody must be suffering. When I look around and I'm suffering, and I look around for this person who is suffering, all I find is a stream of thoughts and sensations and emotions. I just find a stream. It's like I'm standing on the side of a stream and some water is running slow or fast and then slow again and splashing again. That's what I find. When I'm standing looking at suffering, I just find a stream of thoughts, images, feelings, sensations, judgments, etc. Now, if I am standing by the side of a river or a stream, and the stream is doing what it does, I'm okay, right? I'm okay. Yeah. Now, when I'm standing in front of the stream of suffering, I'm not okay. I want it to end.
Yeah.
I want it to end. What is it that I want to end? I want those emotions to end. I want those thoughts to end. I want those feelings to end. I want those memories to end. Okay? And I also want things to change. I want him and her to be different. I want my boss to be different. I want my partner to be different, etc. Right? But when I'm standing at the side of the stream, I don't want the water to be different. I don't want the current to be different. I don't want the rocks to be different. I don't want the temperature to be different. I don't want the sounds to be different, right? So in one case, I am suffering. In the other case, I'm not suffering. So when I take a look, I find that, okay, it's possible that suffering is made up of, I don't want this to happen, and I want that other thing to happen. I don't want to feel what I'm feeling, and I want him or her to stop, to be different. I want the world to be different. I want my mind to be different. So, which means that suffering may be connected to resisting what is and wanting what is not. I want him to be different. I want her to be different. That's wanting what is not, right?
Yes.
And resisting what is, oh, damn, I don't want, why did he do this to me? Why did she do this to me? Why did I make this mistake? Why did I ignore my feelings? So I don't want what is. So suffering could be the process of resisting and seeking. Now, some people say, okay, well, it's easy for me to stand by the stream. It's just a nice stream, but it's a different thing to be feeling. Well, that's true. That's true. But here I am sharing with you that it's the same thing. And you can go, Magdi, you're crazy. It's not the same thing. But for some reason, you don't say, Magdi, you're crazy. It's not the same thing. You're listening. You're listening because you somehow sense that maybe there is something in what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's something what I'm saying. That's the same thing. Now, of course, when you have a habit of resisting, blaming, judging, blaming yourself, ignoring yourself, etc., wanting things to be different, when you have this habit, initially, it appears to be difficult to be still, to be quiet and to listen. But when you go and you stand by the stream, you need to be still to be able to enjoy the stream. If you go sit by the stream and you're thinking about your mother, your grandmother, your bank account, your job, your children, the political world, the COVID, you're not by the stream. you could be sitting in a cave. You're not by the stream. So you need to be quiet to listen to the stream. Similarly, you need to be quiet to listen. To listen. In listening, there is God's neutrality and God's love. In listening, which is not a listening with a personal intention, in listening, God is listening. Through your listening, it is God who is listening. Through your body-mind, God is listening. And God is infinite patience and infinite love and infinite unconditionality or non-conditionality, non-condition, you say, which is God's patience, which is within us. We are the creation of the Creator, and the creation is at the image of the Creator. It is not a human being does not create a monkey, it creates a human being. When a woman is pregnant, she creates a human being. Same, we are the creation of the Creator. That's just partially true, because in fact we also are the Creator. Like a wave is part of the ocean, but it's not separate from the ocean. You cannot take a wave apart from the ocean. How could you? It's not possible. So we have within us the capacity and the wisdom and the love and the patience to explore, not just conceptually, but with our flesh and bones, with our entire being, with our heart, as you say, to explore being at the heart of issues, at the heart of the emotion, at the heart of the feeling, at the core of being. The core of being is this peace, this causeless peace. It's God's peace that's within us, the flame of the universal consciousness is within us.
Yes.
So the path for the freedom from unhappiness and suffering is to understand that, in fact, you are not a separate self. There is, this game where you throw dots on the dartboard. There is no dartboard. You are not a board. There is no dartboard. You are awareness. You need to understand that the belief that you are somebody is a wrong or false belief. You have to understand that. You be very, very clear. In your experience right now, you are awareness. It's so obvious. The body appears to you, thoughts appear to you. It's very important to understand that. Also, in spite of our understanding, the body is habituated to seek and resist,
Yes.
So because of this habituation of the body, immediately we fall into the negative emotion. It is very helpful not to fight the negative emotion, but to be completely open, completely still and welcoming, like you welcome the movements and the sounds of the water when you are standing on the side of the stream. Similarly, you adopt the same attitude of welcoming and being at the heart of the presence. in regards to the sensations, the feelings, and the emotions. Yes. One more thing I wanted to share is that, and that's a little bit conceptual, but it may be helpful, that an emotion, when you take a look at an emotion, it is made out of bodily sensations in your chest, maybe in your eyes or in your belly, bodily sensations, plus the thoughts. Oh God, why this? Yesterday I was better. I thought I was beyond. I was more enlightened. Blah 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 blah. So an emotion is made out of sensations and thoughts. Sensations and thoughts are sounds.
Yeah.
They are neutral sounds. This may be helpful to
This is a symphony of beauty, of wonder. I'm so grateful for you, Magdi. So grateful for your love and time. Wow, I can hear in your voice, in the words that you express, the sound. I'm very grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, Anna. Okay. Thank you for your question. Very good question. Okay. So, any questions? You know, in love, we honor each other's freedom. We have to be watchful to respect and honor the other's freedom, not to be abusive. Sometimes it can be very subtle. What we want, what we desire, what we are used to, what we expect. To be really watchful in how we project things onto the other, which of course starts with projecting it onto ourselves.
Can I ask something more since nobody's asking?
Yes, Anna.
When we stay beside the river in this state of complete being in the moment of the sounds, but not being like kidnapped by it, we are assisting, right, other people to also be there.
Whatever steps we take in the direction of presence, universal presence, is in the right direction. In other words, it's not in the direction of personal isolation. I am not there to improve myself, to better myself, I am there because there is an understanding about being, about presence, about truth, about universal interconnectivity, interconnection. So every step we take that is not based on the belief or from the belief of separation, of being a person, is a step for humanity. It's a step for humanity.
Thank you.
We are interconnected, not just in the breath, not just because we experience gravity, we experience the same planet, we experience the same world, but we are interconnected in every aspect of our being. Every aspect of our being, we are connected. Like the leaves on a tree. They seem to be very different from a certain point of view, but in fact they are the tree. They're made out of the tree. They're interconnected in every aspect of their existence. Similarly, we are interconnected in every aspect of our existence, and this separation is a false belief. But although there is no reality to separation, because of the lack of understanding and the lack of contemplation about the root of misery and unhappiness in the world, in our life, our actions and our thoughts are misguided. They are rooted in the sense of lack and fear and separation. And so the contemplation and the inquiry into the reality of consciousness is primordial for humanity, and it starts with us. Initially, we are on the path for our own personal self, but soon onto the path we realize that we are the path, and that the path is the path of humanity. So yes, absolutely, there is no better way to be of help to others, but to come to the right compass, to the right direction, to come to the truth within your being, within your mind, within your body, within your life.
Thank you, Magdi. I hope I was not disrespectful to anything. I never was my intention to be disrespectful.
I didn't detect any disrespect, and I hope nobody else did. I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you, Magdi.
No, not at
all. Hi, Magdi.
Yes. Hello, Richard. Yes.
Sorry.
Hey, Richard.
I just wanted and thanks to Anna or Anna. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Because I wanted to sort of continue with what she was asking and talking about, because I think about this too. I guess most of us do, but maybe the way to approach this is, I know that a lot of the ways that I've learned, I guess if I say I've learned, I guess I'm speaking about just my body, mind, and the way I've come, to a path of truth is by making mistakes and doing things that had that negative effects or effects I didn't like, and trying to learn from those mistakes. And so I certainly know that making choices that maybe aren't the best choices initially can in the long run be beneficial to someone. And I also know that, I don't know what may be a better choice for someone, most of the time, 99.99% of the time. I don't know if the choice a person makes is better for them or not better for them. But then I also, it is a feeling. I mean, I think I have thoughts that after I feel this, I'll have thoughts that try to justify the feeling that there are some things that, I'll see or either directly see or hear about that will cause me to feel empathy or sympathy. If I see someone kick a dog, my feeling is on the side of the dog more than the person who kicks it, even though maybe the person who kicks it, that's an important step in their path. But I also feel like I should say, hey, don't kick that dog. Mm-hmm. Even though I also know maybe I don't know the whole, I don't have the whole picture. Mm-hmm. So could you speak, maybe is there a way to sort of, or do you have any suggestions for how to temper that first instinct of like, don't do that to someone else, but also, to temper that with my own like humility of knowing that I don't always know that what's best. Does that make sense?
Yes. No. I share what what I heard and what was triggered by what I heard, and you can add some more if I'm so. You know how the body has some instincts. I remember this one time I was driving in Long Island on the Long Island Expressway years ago, and traffic was pretty dense. It was moving pretty fast, and this car not too far in front of me sort of lost control and blocked the road. And in one moment, I made a maneuver that saved us from an accident with people that were in the car with me. And it was like, did this really happen, so there are instincts. We're wired with certain instincts to respond, and sometimes it's just like that, you see. Similarly, via our reality as consciousness, we respond like that. We see somebody who needs help, who is about to fall, or who just fell. There is no thought. We just rush to help them. I remember when I lived on the East Coast, whenever there was a large snowstorm, suddenly everybody came out to push everybody out from the driveway, and it was like, these same people that you lived next to them, and maybe their dog was annoying you or whatever. Here you were, and here they were helping each other. So we don't need to really be anybody special to sort of respond from this place of, no mind. And the absence of mind, the absence of memory, and the absence of past, there's just presence. There is a recognition which is not channeled through the mind. It's not channeled through memory or through thoughts or through who he is, who I am. It's just like, no, don't kick that dog. Hey, what are you doing? Why are you kicking the dog? don't kick the dog. Don't kick the dog. You don't own the dog. You don't own the dog. The dog owns itself. Whatever. Whatever. I'm not. So maybe after the fact, then there may be some processing of some information. Oh, well, he was not really hitting the dog. He was trying to pull something that was stuck on his fur. It's appeared to me that from a certain distance. So I say, oh, gee, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Or not, or yes, don't kick the dog, please don't kick the dog. It's very upsetting. That's the lovely way to be, isn't it? Which is to be as presence. Often Tara tells me, Magdi, behave yourself, behave yourself. Because sometimes I'm out and, I see somebody, I just chatting with them. I don't know what I say. I just chat with them. It's I don't know, it's just sort of arises out of the moment, And it's okay, because there isn't, and I can sense when somebody sort of, looks for you and say, oh, let it go, But it's lovely to be free, to live in the freedom, yes, to live the freedom, to live in the freedom, and to live the freedom, and to you express the freedom not because you're trying to express something, but because you are the freedom. When and once you are unburdened, you see somebody, something pleases you, you might say something. I remember Chloe, my daughter Chloe, when she was a little girl, I owned a restaurant, and she used to come and be in the restaurant with me. And from a very young age, she would go up to strangers and engage in conversations with them. Oh, I really love your necklace. It's really beautiful. Are you sure this? Oh, I love your hair. And I would find her talking to the strangers, and I'd say, Chloe, please don't disturb the clients. And they would be, oh, no, we are happy to be with her. She had a natural, way of, not only she had that, I think, above all, yes, she was this sort of free spirit way. And at the same time, when I noticed that, oh, it was okay, so I let her go. Let her be. Say, okay, it's okay. Well, it's okay. She's sitting at the bar, talking with people, having a drink, and they're enjoying her company. She's 7 and they're 50, but they're enjoying her company. Who is to complain, right? So life can have this quality. Life, actually, I mean, it is that way. It is that fresh, playful. Not that you have to be an extrovert. Some people are introverted. It doesn't matter. But I'm talking about that quality of freedom, that expression that comes, that's not mitigated by your image, their image. Of course, you honor, your relationships, so you sense how the other person is responding, and so you adjust to that. If it's an opening, then here you are. If the door closes, and no problem. There was no ill intent, or you may feel a little rejected. Okay, so we can feel rejected. It's no big deal. Sometimes people reject each other. And so we can feel rejected for a moment, but we don't define ourselves by that. That's the key thing, not to define yourself by feeling rejected. You can feel rejected in that moment because somebody told you, hey, who are you to talk to me? I don't know you. Okay. All right, it's not a happy thing to hear, obviously, but a few minutes later, it's gone. It's just an impact, a little dent, you know, something like a walnut fell on your car and then boom, and then, so at the same time, we have, you know, there is an understanding, you know, we have gathered, as you said, information from past experience. We've learned, you know, we've learned how to talk to each other. I mean, it's quite a skill to relate with people because they're different, you know. There is a certain quality of interacting where you're not violating yourself, and at the same time you're discovering how the other, you know, what is the space, you know, that the other feels comfortable with, you know, how the other person is comfortable with you. There may be a very narrow range, you know, and so the interaction is not extensive, or there may be a lot of room, you know. So then you have more freedom to sort of express in a variety of ways. You know, you can't express to everybody the same way. So it's not like, oh, that's how I am. No, there's no I am like this. These are just stories. You know, it's in the moment. You know how it's happening in the moment. And the more you say, well, this is how I am, the more you're going to find the world is going to tell you, well, this is how I am too. You know, nose to nose. Yeah, well, here's my muscle. Well, show me yours. Yeah, life is a little bit like that. It teaches you that it's a flow. You know, it's a flow, and there is a quality of listening and learning, but you cannot be judgmental. If you're judgmental, the quality of your listening is limited by your judgments. You know, you're listening, but then your judgment comes and says, okay, you know, now screw these people, they're, you know, they're schmucks, etc. No, but how do you come to freedom from judgment? Well, I mean, judgment is within yourself. You're judging this and that and that and that. And judgment, where is it? It's within yourself. Is it happy? No, it's toxic. Judgment is toxic. It's an inner toxicity, which of course spills over onto the others because nobody loves to be judged. So think about it. Here we are drinking the acid Kool-Aid of, you know, judging others, and of course feeling the unhappiness within ourselves, and we keep doing that. We keep taking a sip of that, you know, toxic Kool-Aid. What for? It's mad. I mean, you think about it. You have to think about it. So wait a minute, that's not going anywhere. That's not outside of a personal unhappiness. What is it leading to? So you start to explore other ways. Why? Because you're interested because you're learning. You know, you're interested in learning. You're learning. You know, you're realizing something. You realize something. You say, okay, so in relationship, obviously, judgment is not the way. So, you know, it's a listening. Now, you're listening to the whole situation, including yourself. You're listening to yourself, and within yourself, and again, that's something to be discovered, how to listen within oneself without bringing in the past, you know, your stories and your beliefs and your images about him and her and how, you know, oh, he should be this way and she should be that way. No, there is a listening where you're listening within yourself as well without the past. So you're getting the input from the conversation, from the situation. And also there is a certain memory of, this dog bites. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's biting again. Okay, so over time, you know that you don't open the door to this dog. You know, you just sort of look through the peephole. Oh, it's that dog. Does the owner have a leash? Yeah, is it a solid leash? Okay, then I'll open the door. You see, so there is this sort of learning, but which comes from validity. It's a valid learning. It's not doesn't come out from your past traumas, your psychological traumas, or your ideas and beliefs about the world, or how people should treat you, etc. All these are, stories about ourselves, about the others, about the world, about all sorts of things. You see, that's a different thing. You see, so living is an art. It's an art, and it's a play. It's a playful art. Okay, and okay, so sometimes you put your foot in your mouth. Okay, gee, I didn't know it was going to be heard this way. So if you have an opportunity to clarify it, you clarify it. If you don't, well, okay, you learn from it. And sometimes you mess up and you don't have an opportunity to apologize. It can happen. Then you have to let it go, right? Sometimes you don't make a mistake, but you're misunderstood, and you have an opportunity to clarify the misunderstanding, which is great. And sometimes you don't have the opportunity to clarify the misunderstanding. Okay, fine. So you have to live with it and let it go. Maybe at some point in the future, you have the opportunity to clarify the misunderstanding. I don't know. I'm sorry, Richard. I'm just going on and on. So, anyways, that's where I went with it in terms of what I understood your question or your sharing to be.
And I think there's a lot that's very valuable, and I'm gonna listen to it again if you send the recording, but I'm very grateful we have the recordings because I get so much.
Yes.
Can I ask a question related to something that you mentioned before about yourself and your own path? Because I think it's excuse me. I think it's pertinent to sort of one of the experiences that I'm having to go. So I gave the example of kicking a dog, and I find like the welfare of animals to be a cause with which I strongly keep identifying, and I think that there's value in honoring our animal friends, but I also know that I have feelings, and those trigger ideas and those trigger stories, and I get distracted from truth sometimes, or maybe more than sometimes.
No,
but
sorry, Richard, to interrupt you, but it's awful the way we treat animals. I mean, it's awful. I mean, just so to interrupt you guys, but it's important to share that I'm fully on board with you. It's really awful, how we treat animals. We're not loving. We kill them. We eat them. We imprison them. It's awful. Experiment with them. Yeah. I just wanted to say that I'm fully not on board with the way we are honoring the animals on this planet. Anyways, just wanted to share that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, I think most people do feel that way when they think about it. So maybe we could use that example. Or I know you mentioned that in the past you had you identified to a degree with the human rights cause, and I think we can agree human rights are important. Animal welfare is very important. So maybe you could talk. I'm sure you still, as you said, you honor and you value our animal friends, and you honor and you value human rights, and how do you at the same time honor those who are suffering without also identifying so much with maybe the stories about it or the ideas about it? Does that make sense?
Yes. We love a happy dream, you see. Like here we are together conversing. Nobody's shouting at each other or throwing pies in each other's face. We enjoy. It's a nice stroll with friends or inviting friends over for a drink or dinner or whatever. We enjoy a nice conversation. Right? I mean, we enjoy the things. It's not rocket science, you see. And so in the world, there's a lot of misery. And we feel empathy for humanity in the situation in which the human beings are, not just human beings, all sorts of beings are subject to right now. And so this is why we contemplate. I mean, part of our unhappiness is not separate from the unhappiness, of humanity. We are humanity. We're a drop of water out of the ocean, like any other drop of water. Nothing special about this drop of water versus that drop of water. So when we're contemplating our unhappiness and suffering and misery in our life, because we are wondering what's going on in this planet, and what's going on in my life, what's going on in life in general. So we do have this empathy, and in some cases this interest to dig in that direction, to explore that direction. And oftentimes it's not easy, because you're going sometimes in order to see through your suffering and to come to the understanding, you have to look face to face, eye to eye with the beliefs that make you, that make you feel that you are you. How about that? As opposed to, because no feelings and no belief make you you. You're already. But what you feel is you. So like, sometimes it feels like to explore, this core question of suffering in humanity is it may mean my death, because I've got to look at my beliefs about myself, about the world, and my identity. And without my identity at the body-mind level, what am I? So is this sense of that death is around the corner, if you contemplate truth. And in fact, most of the sages do speak that you have to die, that which dies is the illusion, is not what you truly are, because that which is cannot die. It's neither born nor dead. So yes, we do embark on a journey that interests us, and at some point it starts to scare the living something out of us. And then at some point we realize that that's the way, that's the path, and we find tremendous energy and will and courage and strength and support to pierce through the veil, to continue in that direction and pierce through the veil and pop that balloon. Now, this does not mean that also in our life it's possible that alongside, this inquiry, that we're also engaged in some way or the other in, to a certain extent, because as a body-mind, there is a limitation to the body-mind, in terms of time and the body and all of that. So, but we may still be engaged in various ways, in various causes. But the key thing is to have the understanding, is to come to the understanding, which is an understanding that's crucial about the root cause of suffering, which is the false identity. And the understanding about the false identity eventually frees you from identification, from being identified as a man, as a Palestinian, as an animal rights activist, as a Buddhist, as whatever. Eventually, all these sorts of identification will thin out. But this does not mean that your love for a beautiful dream and a harmonious dream and a respectful dream and respecting each other, that also falls off. No. it's still there. It's still there. Your engagement is whatever it is. I don't know. I mean, it depends on each person, each situation, you know, and how much resources you have available to you, how much time you have available to you, what the totality of your interests is. It's all okay, you know. It's not a mission about saving the world, because the waking from the impression of separation affects the dream. It's like you go to the fair and this magician is cutting the lady in half, and there are like 5 people watching and they're all horrified, but one person is smiling because this person knows it. It's just a play of mirrors. There's nothing happening. This person's smile is there in that space, you see. It's not nothing. It has an effect on the whole. So as a relative way of speaking, awakening from the dream affects everybody in the dream in one way or the other. It is more important than all these dharma talks, all these satsangs. It has a quality that's invisible. Actually, in fact, in satsang too, the quality of satsang is invisible. And it is that which is the healer of all wounds. At the same time, there is no reality to wounds.
Thank you very much, Magdi. That's beautiful.
Okay, Richard. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you all. Very lovely to be with you all. Lauren, yes, lovely to be with you. Hello, Rahul.
Hello, Magdi.
Meena,
Happy Guru Purnima.
lovely to see you, Rahul. Meena and Richard, hello.
Thank you, Magdi.
Yes, lovely.
Thank you.
George, yes, and Frank. Hey, Frank. Come. Holly. Hey, Holly. Gisela. Hello, Gisela.
Thank you.
Esther. Karen. Hello, Karen. And Grace. Grace. Yes. Patrick. Yeah. Hi, Kelly. And Shiva. Salut, Shiva. And Zoe. Hi, Zoe.
Thank you, Magdi.
Hi, Zoe. Marga. Hello, Marga. And Lori. Hello, Lori. So lovely to be with you all. Thank you. Thank you. If I missed anybody, I'm so sorry. Sometimes the images skip here.
It's okay, Magdi.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Magdi.
Maggie.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.